All right, let's see here. Are we live? Is my speakers working? Can y'all hear me? Okay, because nothing's coming through on my end, so that's weird, but okay. If you can hear me, I don't need to hear me. That's all that matters, right? Hello, 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 everyone. How are you doing today? Good evening. Let's see, who all's in here? Halloween, welcome. Alex, good to see you. Elifram, good to see you again. Open Ocean, Peachy, Lightbringer. We got a full house in here already. That is awesome. Grace Isis, hi, good to see you again too. So, yeah, we got a nice full house up in here tonight. And Jacob, good to see you. All right. This has been a crazy week on my end, I'll be honest. Been doing a lot of filming and working on the classes and doing a bit of reading, trying to get caught up on some reading I'm way behind on. And of course, the usual answering questions and emails that I have to go through. But I have also been working on that the divinations challenge. I don't know if anyone else actually worked on that one because it was so different. It's both weekly and long-term challenge. But for me, my focus with this one was not just the divinations. Hey, Lauren, good to see you. But I also wanted to really streamline my process. And, it was years ago, somebody recommended a book to me on how to really streamline and condense down your work schedule. And considering many of you tell me I work too much, I figured I'd take a read on it. So I've actually been applying that with my weekly challenge. And I'm actually going to be able to open up a day or two off a week now. So maybe I should have listened and read that book sooner. But between that and the divinations of working toward goals, I have to say this weekly challenge may perhaps be my most productive one yet that I personally have participated in. Which actually I've participated in all of them. So this has been the most productive one for me so far. And I hope you all got at least half of that out of it for you all. Hey, Mathis, good to see you, man. Oh, Peachy, you may have to change my nickname. My hair's growing back out. I've gotten lazy and haven't wanted to maintain trimming it up, so I've just been letting it grow. I was wondering what that was. Dragon Young Buddha. I'll take the young. Why not? Let's do that. That'll work. I ain't been called young in a long, long time. Well, unless it was by a dragon. So, actually, I have had one of the rulers refer to me as old. And you have never felt so old as when a dragon ruler calls you old. No matter how much it annoys you when they call you child, young one, or something like that, you'll want them to call you young one or something after they call you old. It just hits you. It's like, oh. Well, from if all the readers and everybody who attempts to benchmark my soul's age, yeah, my soul's old. Weirdly, they keep telling me that my soul predates what we know as reality. I don't know technically what the flip that's supposed to mean or anything, but that sounds pretty freaking old. And if it was just one person, I wouldn't think anything of it. I'd just be like, okay, that's a great way to smooth over the fact you ain't got an answer. But after about 10 or 20 people keep telling you the same thing, it's like, I don't know what's going on here, but maybe, just maybe, they're all getting similar information. I try not to get into the soul age competition that people get into, and it's just like, ugh. Sounds like Dragon Buddha to me. Oh, well, clearly I'm stuck with the Dragon Buddha title. Thanks, Peachy. I'll be honest with you. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I know you can track its age through the Akashic records if you want to spend enough time there researching your whole timeline. Divination wise, I've never found a reliable way that I'm comfortable saying this is how you do it. That said, there are plenty of divination specialists and readers and tarot readers and spirit readers and stuff like that out there who they offer the service. And how accurate it is, I really can't say. But like I did say, I've had 10 or 20 of them give me the same ballpark answer. And to the best of my knowledge, they don't communicate with each other. So there has to be something to it. But I've always kind of been more rooted into the present and what's going on and what I'm dealing with now. Because even if it's a past issue, if it's affected me in the present, I prefer to deal with it in the present. And in my view, if it's a past issue that I need to look at something in the past, that'll come up in the present while I'm working on it. And my logic may be warped there, but that's always been my approach to it, and it seems to work every time. And I think one of the reasons I do that, especially in magic, I've seen a lot of people really get lost in focusing on their past lives. They live so much in their past lives, they forget to live in the present or even think about the future. And I never want to do that. I'm always looking forward, trying to grow and become a better person. Hey, Merrick, good to see you. I mean, there is insight that can be gained from it, which I did mention. If it comes up in issues I'm working on, I do by all means look backward. I just try not to spend too much time there. I don't want to get lost in it. Lauren, that is very well said right there. That is perfect. That is very well said. I love that little saying. Yeah, that is true. With any journey work, there's a lot of people who also forget to live in the real world. That's one reason I did that video on living a magical life and how you incorporate magic into your everyday life. Because at the end of the day, no matter how we slice it, even if your goal is ascension, until that point, you have to handle your shit here. You have to live here because this is where you are. And if you want to get further in any direction, you have to start where you are. Yeah, the present is so easy to forget about, especially in modern day. I remember thinking my grandfather was uber grumpy because he was always about this has to be taken care of now, 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 now. And as a kid, I always had this isn't fun. I don't want to do this now. But looking back, there's real wisdom into his grumpiness because you're never going to want to do that. Whatever it is that's not fun, you don't want to do it. Let's be honest. I can't think of anyone who needed to do a chore that they didn't want to do, and they just randomly woke up one day happy and excited to do whatever it was. So the best time to handle it is now, so that later all you have left is time to relax, put your feet up, and goof off with friends and family. No time like the present to handle stuff. Yeah, you're right, Lightbringer. And that's actually, when I say people get lost in it, that's actually what I've noticed. No matter how bad, terrible, or what the past may have been, since it's done and over, it's kind of like watching a movie you've seen. The first time through, you get all choked up and teary eyed, but afterwards you don't because you know how it ends. You know everything works out, and because of that, it's far easier to deal with that than it is the present time. That's actually very true. I never feel like washing dishes, Peachy. That's why I use movement meditation when I have to do dishes. I hate doing dishes. And really, it comes down to which do I hate worse, stuff piled on my counters or doing dishes. And I really have to pick the lesser of two evils because I drink so much coffee, I need the clear counter space. Yeah, Elfram, you ain't kidding right now. I don't know what happened, but a heat wave just jumped over into our town, and I didn't have the AC on, so it's like freaking 90 degrees up here in the office right now. So, yeah, I could go for some of that cold dishwater right now. Well, see, Lauren, I expect it to get warm. I mean, I live in the South. But for whatever reason, spring has hardly even been here. Our normal has been like 65 all year. And it's almost freaking June. It's like, where's summer, people? So maybe this is summer deciding to come on in and get here. I don't know. It tricked us one time. We had one day that hit 80 something degrees, and I turned the air on, and I was like, yes, summer's here. And it got a little cooler the next day, and I was like, okay, that's understandable. But then it dropped to like 40 the next. It's like, okay, now I'm freezing. What the hey? Lauren, I think you're right. I mean, I don't know where you're at. I'm up here in Virginia. So Yeah, I think we're skipping true spring, and they're just going to wait until they're just going to give us summer. And it's like, if we're going to skip something, could we skip deep summer? Because that's when it's hot and miserable. So could we kind of like take the early summer, the summer that's warm but livable, and skip deep summer and go straight to fall? Hey, North Carolina, love it down there. I passed through there quite a bit. Yep. Never go to Kentucky in deep summer. That is like the worst place in the South I've ever been during deep summer. Oh my God. That's why I'll never live there again. So, and it's down in that valley. So at least the part of Kentucky I was in, it's like no air comes through. There's no air circulation during summer. And it gets to like 100 degrees or up. And it's just pure humidity, 100%. Even people from Louisiana and Florida hate it. So people who live full time in Kentucky, I don't know how they do it. First chance I got, I left. See, I love that. Now, okay, well, hold on. Let me rephrase that. I love Alabama in the summer. Deep summer gets rough. It does. It gets rough. But at least y'all have enough flat land that some air moves around. And at least for me, coming from Kentucky, that air, that was heaven to me. See, if you live in bad enough conditions, you can go to a bad place and it still feel like heaven. Though I'll admit, I'm kind of leaning toward more coastal life just so I can have that coastal air coming in the summer, just kind of break that heat a little bit. Yeah, the humidity's the killer. I won't lie, the humidity's making me consider adding a few more colors to my wardrobe. Maybe. Depends on how well I can stay inside and hide. So, okay. Oh, almost forgot. Some of y'all know this who's over in the Discord, but I want to show you this. So one of y'all asked me about altar cloths for dragon magic. And in that conversation, I stumbled across a solution to a problem I've had ever since I started. I've been looking to get altar cloths made, but I can't find anybody who would do it. And I've also always wanted an altar cloth that was heavy enough to take outside and work and easy to clean. And every altar cloth I find is either extremely lightweight to where even a leaf can blow it away, or it's made of a material that's a pain in the rear to clean. So jokingly, I made this. I actually put the dragon's eye seal on a beach towel and laid it out in a way that would make an altar cloth. And right as I'd done it, I realized this is actually what I've been looking for my whole life. This is a heavyweight material that will lay down outside. And you can see there's plenty of room on the sides here to put your working equipment and stuff to keep them off the ground too if you want. It's not quite blanket size for me. I know it looks bigger on the camera here, but yeah, I couldn't even fit on this fully. But it gives you some room to put your tools and stuff, keep them off the ground. And since it's literally the same material of a high quality beach towel, you can just throw it in the washer and dryer, no problems. I don't know why I did not think of this years ago. And I need to go back and look who asked me the original question and thank them, because me and them talking about altar cloths and my little joke has just solved a 10-year issue I've had. This has already been outside with me once, and I love it. So if you are wanting one, it's available at the workingdragonmystic.com. Just hit merch. And it is listed as a beach towel. I don't lie about what it is. I call it a beach towel so they know the size and material it is. But it's real good quality. I was surprised. This is like the back of it. It feels like those high quality, very absorbent hotel towels, which I know nobody likes how they feel, but we know they're good quality. But this is as soft as a fleece blanket on this side. So very comfy. So yeah, I need to find out who originally asked me that question because that thing turned out awesome. Now, there is an option to make a blanket, and I don't know if I've done it or not, but I am going to be adding the blanket if I haven't already. Because technically you could use the blanket, or we even have a wall hanging. And you could actually use the Dragon's Eye seal as a circle that you lay out on the ground if I can get it big enough. Yes, if I could get a full actual circular blanket that is nothing but that seal would be freaking awesome. And I won't lie, I've looked. I've been looking for about 4 years. And that's when I was originally looking for making my own physical circles. So far, I haven't found anything. But that ain't going to stop me from looking. And if I do, y'all find out real quick. You can use it to work with the Fae. I don't know what you mean by dealing with the Fae. But yeah, you can use it for working with the Fae. One of the things that I've noticed, every energy current that I've worked with, since dragons work with all those energy currents as well, and as I've said before, I've never found an energy current dragons don't work with, you can utilize that Dragon's Flame Ritual and the Dragon's Eye Seal to help you work with those currents. Now, I don't want to say that and say get lazy and use it as a catch-all, especially if you're not a dragon magic practitioner. But it is something that I've tested and found that it really does help. And if anything, I'm actually looking for that one current that dragons don't work with. So if there is one, and if I ever find it, I'll have to update that. But at this time, I've yet to find a energy current or grouping of entities that dragons don't work with in some way. Now, if you're asking if it's a good way to get rid of Fae, like let's say you made them mad, due to the way Fae law works, once you cross them, you kind of have to make amends. You can't just banish them. Which I actually have a video on the laws of working with Fae coming out. I think that might be Tuesday's video. So a lot of you have been asking about that. So that video is actually coming out within the next week or two. I want to say it's Tuesday though. Yeah, the dragons have worked quite a bit with the energy patterns from the different Necronomicons. They're actually where I got one of my first dive-ins from. But it's weird too, because that's one of the ones their answer to me when I was asking them about it is, we will happily teach you if you're willing to walk the path. And I didn't understand that at first, because usually they're very open. But it didn't take me long to figure out that the energy current from that particular grouping of working text and mythology, it is a different kind of energy current. And though they will work with it and they will help you work with it, it's an energy current that you really have to experience before you can truly understand it. It's not something that can really be put into words, even by them, very easily. And it is actually something I plan on doing a deep pathway on, either starting toward the end of this year or early next year, because this summer I'm finishing up the Dragon Magic 102 course, which is currently in filming for anyone wondering. And then you all who follow the research and ramblings know that I'll be picking up my Clefothic pathworking again this fall, because that's what Lilith and Samiel said, was to delay it till fall and put my focus on other things, which I have been doing. So I'll be picking that up, and then directly after that's when I'm going to look more into that deep dive on that Necronomicon current. No, that's fine, Alex. I was just making sure either way it was answered. And yeah, it's great for working with the Fae. The dragons work with the Fae quite a bit. There's an entire clan of dragons that they live in the Fae realms to help the Fae. Some are, some ain't. That's kind of where mermaids fall in. At one time, I would have said all mermaids were viewed as Fae or Undines, but it didn't take long of working with different aquatic creatures to find out there are mermaids that they're specifically from the elemental plane of water, and they don't share any Fae lineage, which is weird because you can't tell at visually a whole lot of difference. The biggest difference that I've noticed is some of them seem to fall more on the physical aspects, whereas the Fae definitely lean more onto the magical side of things. Well, Lauren, thank you for enjoying the channel. Yeah, I could understand that. The course is standalone, so you don't have to get caught up on the channel, but I can also see how getting caught up on the channel might also help. But I do think you're going to enjoy the course. I've had a few students already submit reviews, and, well, I constantly get emails telling me how much everybody's loving it, which is good, I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to see it having such a positive effect on everyone's lives, too. That's awesome. It is so good to see those messages and emails with so much positive feedback, considering all the negative crap that I usually see on just random social media. Okay, I may not have rinsed my cup out super well. A little dish soapy tasting. It's okay. Coffee's strong enough, it'll overpower it. Well, what happened, Merrick, if you feel up to sharing? I mean, I've had some crazy experiences myself. Well, thank you, Lauren. Honestly, this has been a work in progress for years. The dragons have been wanting to share this deep path working. And the original thought was to do it in book format, and we found out I can't organize a book. And it really came down to either I have to find a way to organize a book, or I had to overcome my terror of cameras and put it in a video format. Because I could teach a class face to face. And I found it was easier for me to conquer fear than to attempt to organize my thoughts in text. So I did. Actually, I have been mostly behaved today. Yep, they'll pull stunts like that. They will. I mean, Now, that said, I do plan on putting out books that, they're not going to be text organized heavy. Stuff like a grimoire of dragons with a listing of sigils, dragons, telling about the dragons, what they can help you with. Simple stuff like that, where organization isn't key. It's just a matter of, here's the information, let's put it between two covers and, get it to the people. Those kinds of books I am looking at. Though, at least one person wants me to try, now that the course is organized in a video format, to try and put that into a book format. Now that I have it organized in a general format, maybe I could. We'll see. Now, the Fae can be a little harsh, and they will definitely take a rough road to teach you a different point of view. But you'll learn a lot doing it. Yeah, that's my goal. Like, for example, I'm currently reading through a book, and I don't want to out the book or the author at this point, on evocation. Now, reading through this, it's a pretty good sized book. It's about like that. But if you take away more of the long-winded explanations and stories, you could probably break this book down to about 3 or 4 chapters, maybe 100 pages or less, on solid functioning information on evocation. And I know a lot of publishers don't want that. They want you to add in some bulk and fluff, because that's what I've been told. I literally have been told, if we publish this, we need fluff, we need page count. So I'm looking towards self-publishing ebooks that are literally just the meat, just the straightforward, here's the process meat. And any explanations or stories, it has to actually fully add to that, or it won't be in there. That's the only way I know how to write. I'm not an entertainer. Open ocean, that's a wonderful question. Yes, I do actually. I have a few. Obviously, the one most people's going to recommend is breathing exercises. Focus on controlling your breath. That will replace a lot of your meditation exercises and your self-discipline. Ooh, it'll also help. Oh, I think I blew a bubble because of the soap. If I start hiccuping bubbles, this is going to be, oh Lord. Anywho, it'll also help you with energy control naturally. Next, actually work on your visualization of energy. In everything you do, try and reach out, feel energy, and move it. So, for example, you go to open a door. Don't just reach for the doorknob, but actually reach for energy as you do it. Grab the doorknob, turn it, and then pull the energy to you as you're opening the door. So to you, it becomes an energy work exercise. To anyone watching, they just saw you open a door. You didn't do anything. And try to apply this to as many daily activities as you can. You can even do it when, like, I don't know if you're in a situation where you shake hands a lot or greet people, but when you wave at someone, you can actually wave a kind of a positive just general blessing. Don't try to shape it because you don't know what's going on in that person's life. Let it shape itself. Yeah, all those things. And if you drive, I actually use energy work and stuff on traffic lights regularly. I'll be honest, my real world instant spell work is probably used on finding parking spots and getting green lights more than anything else in my life, period. So do little things like that, and you will be surprised at the time. Let's say you spend a week where you cannot do magic, but you do all these little things, and you come back to your rituals, you're going to be surprised how much progress you've made just incorporating that into everyday things. Lauren, yes, you get it. Yes. See, I have to drive from where I'm at in Virginia Beach all the way up to Norfolk a lot. And traffic, it's horrid. It sucks. I don't like it. But I can make that trip driving the speed limit faster than anyone who speeds because I cheat, use magic, and I hit all the green lights. Neener, neener, neener. Well, I try not to run late. I hate running late. That's like one of my biggest pet peeves. I'm always that guy try to be early, but don't always happen. My wife never in a hurry, so if I'm running late, she's usually with me. Won't lie. Oh, grats, dude. Yeah, in that case, hey, use it on your PT. When you're PT and channel some of that energy. Before you go, actually pick an entity to work with, like Thor. He's one that I know people do a lot. And actually reach out and say a quick little silent prayer to Thor and actually channel that energy through you while you're doing your PT. Not only will you see better stamina and results, but you'll also see better gains as you're doing it. I have a lot of students who go into the military or students who are in the military. And yeah, hands down, that's one of the best places to start utilizing that energy work and your practice. Because you don't have to do much about it. You don't have to do a full ritual. You can just say a quick little, "Hail Thor, lend me your aid and bless me with strength and stamina to complete this task." Something as quick and easy as that, where no one else can hear you, and then you hit it. And also to that, I would say, look at astral sanctum work. Because while laying in your rack at night, if you don't pass out cold, tired, just I'm dead, you could do your workings in your astral sanctum as well. Because anyone looking at you, all they're going to see is just laying there. They're not going to see you doing anything else. But you've moved over to your astral sanctum. So yeah, those are options. I work with a lot of people, like my wife's Navy. So when it comes to limited space, I've had to think this through because the bunks on a ship are pretty much smaller than a coffin. That's your bunk. Again, Thor's pretty great for field work. So is Odin. Because both of them do spend a lot of time out traveling. So they're really experienced at how to deal with the elements and living that life on the road. Those are my go-tos for those kind of environments. I'm trying to think who else would be a good one for that, though. If anyone has another ideal for like being out in the wilderness, Frey's a Norse god that would. The Green Man actually wouldn't be too bad for being out in the woods because, well, look, that's what he is. He's all about that wilderness life. So any of those entities that would easily be in those environments could help you to understand and be comfortable in those environments. Does that make sense? Oh, Merrick, I'm glad to see that the experience actually helped you with what you were going through. That's cool. The name looks familiar, said Hunt. But I get hit with so many questions these days, it's hard. Dragon 348. What advice do I have for someone just starting out? Focus on meditation because that's going to build up your control and your discipline. Also, check out the video on the laws of magic because that's really going to give you a deep insight to how energy functions. And then, honestly, while you're doing that, and I know I don't mean this to be, but our Magical Basics playlist on the YouTube channel, the whole point of that playlist is to get the basics out to anyone who's just starting. So you'll see stuff like circle casting, keeping a journal, which keeping a journal should be something to start right away. Whether it be digital online like Google Docs journal or a physical journal, keep your journal. In fact, anymore, I'm almost recommending Google Docs for long-term practitioners and their journaling because no matter where you are, it goes with you. And many practitioners worry about how to hide it. So real easy way to, I mean, you got your password, they don't. But the Magical Basics playlist is just crammed full of things to get started with. But other than the laws of magic, meditation, grounding and shielding, basic circle casting, and check out the Arcane Senses video and start doing those exercises. That is where I would start you. Wait, what? You can use speech to text? Okay, that's new. I need to figure out how to do that. Yeah, Heimdall would be good. So would Pan. If you're looking for a dragon, there's a video I got on X Boonwell. Prosperity and success are his specialties. So career-wise, he's great. Believe it or not, Thor is actually really good for careers because there's a reason he's known as the working man's god. I know in the myths, people only see him as a farmer and a herder, you know, the traditional jobs of Vikings. What people fail to realize is these gods have evolved with time, so they understand modern life. So when it comes to an actual modern life and career, he's actually pretty good in those areas too. All those entities would be great. I'm trying to think who else. If you're working with dragons, again, Terrafana, the ruler of the dragons of Earth, she's great with success in careers. Let's see. Right off the top of my head, that's what I'm coming up with. Oh, Elephant, I will be trying that tonight. Thank you. You may have just simplified my life, dude. Lena, yeah, sure. I will admit, Lucifer's not an entity I've worked a lot with. People are a little surprised by that. But I have worked with him quite, at least some, especially during last year's meditation path working in the Cliff Rock. And then I've done some evocation work with him a couple years before. That said, I've always found him to be a very interesting entity to work with. He's definitely really on the whole self-empowerment kick. He wants you to learn to self-mastery, and he's all about freedoms. So if you're talking, it always amazes me when people like want to sell their soul to Lucifer, because that he won't do it. That's giving away your power and your freedom. Even though, I mean, the soul don't really have any value, but the ideal of what you're asking to do, it's giving up something that you should never give up in his view. So as far as a teacher and an ally, he is an incredible entity to work with. And he really does. He focuses on that personal empowerment and freedom above all else. Now, that said, some of his teachings do get a little rough because he's going to push you into areas that are holding you back, or even chains that you've put on yourself. So like one limitation I placed on me at one point was, due to my religious upbringing, there were certain entities I would not work with. And Lucifer is one of the entities that helped me to understand that I was only viewing the entities from a biased lens, and instead of encouraging me to work with them, instead he encouraged me to research and understand them through multiple viewpoints across different cultures and reach my own conclusion. And when I'd done that, I really felt bad. I really did, because I really understood these entities on a larger level and realized their personalities are just as varied as we are. And to just stereotype them, it's wrong to do. But no, he's a fascinating entity to work with. Very nice guy. Now, he can get serious, but he also has a very fun-loving, joking side that comes out too. So he enjoys that discipline, but he also knows that you got to have fun. I hope that's of help. I bet that would make essays a lot easier. See, my typing, anyone who's ever had to deal with me in Discord knows my typing and spelling are atrocious. So voice to text sounds pretty nice. I wonder how it will handle my southern twang. If that don't screw it up too well, too bad, I may be on a roll. I might be able to write a book quick now, people. Everybody, raise your glass to Elfram. He may have made it possible that I can write a book quicker. My views on reincarnation are quite interesting, because in one way I do believe in it, and the other I don't. And I'll explain that. So over the years that I've spent soul traveling the various planes and everything, trying to understand what we are, what we truly are if you remove the meat suit, has always been one of those questions. So I have spent a lot of time in the reincarnation and the soul area, because if reincarnation is true, we run into a problem. How can we have ancestors and ghosts if there are no ghosts or ancestors, because they reincarnated right back into this lovely orchestra of life? So what I found out is that the soul for lack of a better word, the energy consciousness that we are, is actually so large that it cannot be contained within this meat suit, or even 100 meat suits for that matter. So what happens is when a piece of our consciousness comes to this plane, it takes on an identity, a set of personality traits, and it goes through this life and it picks up those experiences and those patterns of learning. And then when we pass, that piece goes on back, but it maintains that identity. That's where you get ghosts and spirits, and you can call on those ancestors. That's also why you can actually evoke a past you. So when you reincarnate, it's not that same little piece, it's a whole new piece. Does that make sense? That has at least been the gnosis I've been getting over the last few years. And I'll be honest, it makes sense to me. It explains why we can't fit certain things together, but we know those certain things do work. The second you realize the soul's too big to contain in one meat suit, and instead each life is just a piece, it suddenly makes sense perfectly. Well, now, see this? That is technically possible. If your grandfather was indeed a piece of your whole soul, then even though it's a new piece, you are technically, by that definition, you would be straight down that line of reincarnation. So that would still be very possible. In fact, when they say this person's the reincarnation of Buddha and will be the next Buddha, or Dalai Lama and whatnot, I always find it interesting when the next one's mentioned, because if you actually look at the energy and you trace it to the large source energy, you find out that these are actually new pieces of the same whole. So they are actually reincarnations, which is kind of freaky to realize that, you know, clearly these spiritual people have figured this out. I don't know if they've defined it as well as this yet, but they seem to have figured this concept out. Wait, what? You didn't appreciate what? Thank you. I was nodding in my head in the dark like crazy person. I don't appreciate your answer. I don't get that, Lena. I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but I like rum. Oh, cool. Okay, yeah, okay, I'm seeing it now. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, one thing I've learned when it comes to the occult and magic, we have to step outside of what we know as common knowledge and tradition and ask ourselves, is there more to the truth? Not is this false, not is this wrong, not is this inaccurate. That's the wrong view. just ask, is there more to it? Is there a greater understanding? And if we do that, you will find your knowledge and your understanding growing greatly. You have to be open to new things. Even knowledge of magic has to grow and evolve. We can't stay way back in what most people would consider the Renaissance of the occult and magic. Those people made great strides to further magic development. But if we only stay where they're at, that's where we stay. We don't grow. We have to break tradition, and we have to grow, and we have to do what they did and step outside the norm and build a whole new thing to go further into the future. I truly believe that. And that takes an open mind. In fact, I actually saw a meme, and I can't believe I'm quoting wisdom of a meme here, but it was something like, tradition enslaves you to the dead, or something along those lines. And those certain traditions I do think are important. It's also good to not just do something over and over repeatedly just because that's how it's always been done. It's good to question. It's good to look forward. It's good to build the better mousetrap. That's the one. Thank you, Halloween. She's seen it too, apparently. Thank you. Elfram, I have heard about star seeds, and I've looked into them. And I'll be honest with you, there does seem to be a unique energy pattern surrounding them. As to exactly what that is, what that means, the jury's still out with me, and I'm still wanting to do more research before I lock in and give an opinion. So I'm still very open-minded in that category. But I'll just admit, I don't have enough knowledge and understanding to categorize and say who is not, and what's it mean. It's an area that definitely needs more research. And I think there's a few people who's jumped too heavy on the train before they fully understand it. Or maybe they understand it so well, and we all so far behind, we don't understand it, and they ain't as deep in as we think they are. So, all those are possibilities. I always say my favorite thing is to be wrong. Because if you prove me wrong in some information area, that's a chance for me to learn something new and grow. And I love it. I've actually heard that pattern, Mathis. I have. It's just every timeline for the pattern I've seen, I've still been able to find ghost for. That's why it never fully made sense. But I do think that pattern and process probably does exist still to some extent. Oh, Lord. I'll be honest, I don't know. I never particularly. I've seen the hatchery, which I'm surprised they let anyone ever see it. I've been blessed enough to actually be there when a hatchling hatched, but I've never been there during the conception, so I don't know. Nor have I thought to ask, actually. Though, that said, if you have me guess, considering the way they make for with their relationships in general, to my understanding that they do not lay eggs often, and they only lay a few at a time. So I think it's anywhere from 1 to 6 eggs at a time. And I'm wanting to say they're pre-fertilized, but I don't know for sure. This is just taking what knowledge I have and trying to piece together a theoretical. And I'm not sure I want to ask a dragon that question. Although it could be fun to see the look on their face when I ask it. But no, I'm got to say that's actually one that I've not thought on for all their society. And I mean, it sounds like a funny question, people, but I honestly get where he's coming from. Because studying these entities, I have studied, their society, how they live. That's one of the reasons, I felt so blessed to get to see the hatchery, because they are so protective of those eggs and the hatchlings. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just a part of it I never thought about. But I do understand, because I do want to learn as much about their culture and society as I can as I work with them. Hey, Lord Neo, good to see you. Shoot, Lauren, always happy to try and answer a question. No, we're not. No, we're not going that far down that. We're talking basic science and biology here. Let's leave it on that end. Let's not go down that rabbit hole, Peachy. Lauren, yeah, actually I do. Now, if you're not already working through the class and you don't have a co-magician and guardian, you won't be able to get a full contact. But that's not to say you can't reach out and make some simple first-time basic contact. So, learn the Dragon's Flame ritual, and you would do that, especially if you can do it near the water, would be great. And sit down in your space, call out to Coralegra with a very simple calling. Something as easy as Coralegra. Let me know your presence. Be here with me. Write your own, and just meditate there in that space that's set up by the Dragon's Flame ritual. And since you made that specific call to Coralegra, she will take notice of that, and she will send as much of her presence and energy to you that is within the safe margins. And you can start building that connection and that relationship. And yeah, definitely going to the Outer Banks, that's a great time to do it. So yeah, that's what I would do. The only Dragonology book I've seen was basically meant for kids, and I flipped through it, didn't actually read it, but yeah, I wouldn't know how credible that one was either. I'd actually have to read through it. Because I have seen some children's books that are crazily, creepily accurate. And I have to wonder if they were just inspired by the entities or if the authors knew what they were writing. I don't know. No, it was through soul travel and walking the planes. Um, that's one of the beauties of soul travel is you can walk the different planes in a manner that they're as tangible as the physical realm is to us now. And that's what I was doing when I saw the nest, because their hatchery is its own little locked up, safe security plane. I mean, it's you can't get in and out unless you're a dragon or you have. They have a very specific protocol for non-dragons even remotely getting access. But it was through soul travel. You can't scry into the plane, and you won't be able to get an accurate meditation in either. Open ocean, just do it anywhere. Um, that ritual can be done any place, anywhere. That's the beauty of it. Dragon magic doesn't require a specific environment. No problem, Lauren. Yeah, definitely. And you'll see what I mean once you start the Dragon Magic 101 class. Because as you dive in and start working directly with the rulers, that energy ramps up real fast, real quick. And I'll admit, it scares some people that first time they encounter it. Mathis, that's a great way to do it, in all honesty. More often than not, that's what I do. I save rituals for something special, but for just building that friendship and talking, I just talk to them. I don't have any videos specifically on soul travel just yet, though I do have one on starting to learn astral travel easily. So that would be the best place to start. If you're that new, I would also check out building an astral sanctum. That'll help you build up that same skill set very, very quickly. No, Mathis, I've been looking, still have not managed to watch it. I'm actually there's a couple red boxes around here that I'm going to hit up and see if they're available. Elfram, there is actually a slight defining line between soul travel and astral travel. Though starting out, it's hard to find it. Astral travel can, for the most part, especially at the beginning, do everything that you're going to be able to do with soul travel. But eventually, soul travel becomes more tangible, more realistic, and you can go to certain planes that you can't access through astral only. I thought they were the same thing for the longest time. I learned they weren't the hard way, which seems to be how I learn anything these days. Yeah, Lauren, those rulers, they pack a punch of energy. They're amazing to work with. Thanks, Peachy. Yeah, she's looking out for me. I am trying to see that movie. Honestly, if that's your case, Sadi, just build your astral sanctum, do all your work there. Because at that point, you're just sitting down. Anyone looking is going to see you sitting there meditating or even laying in your bed napping. So start with the astral sanctum, because that right there, for anyone who has issues with practicing, that solves all your problems with one technique. Awesome to hear, Mathis. I'm glad to see it's coming into you're coming into your own and everything's taking off for you. That's what we love to hear. Oh, no problem. Like I said, for years I thought they were the same. And I'm not trying to be all uppity here. It's just there is a separating line, and I think it's important to bring it up if the opportunity presents itself. Now, Lauren, I'll admit, Cora has been popping up and reaching out to quite a few ladies of late. I can't think of any guys who's told me that she's reached out to just yet. But she does seem to be an active little dragon of late. And I've thought about asking her why. But she does seem to be encouraging people to step up and start working, because she's really about that self-empowerment vibe. And, let's be honest, the whole world could use some healing right now, and that's definitely Cora Legger's bag. I think every one of us on some level could use some healing. So, yeah. Which, by the way, her artwork, when it got done and we put it up on the shop, her artwork was freaking gorgeous. So these definitely jump over to the Discord too. There's people in the Discord every day sharing their experiences. And honestly, I'm in there every day when I have free time. I pop in on the regular. Heck, sometimes I even pop in before coffee. So yeah, definitely pop into the Discord. There's usually a link below the videos for the Discord server. And yeah, I mean, your practice is valid. There's a reason I tell people to focus on results based, because initiation and all that, yeah, it can be fun. But at the end of the day, if your practice is yielding the results you're looking for, that's it. It's working. You're done. Yeah, and I mean, it's great to see that Discord building that community. Honestly, it's great to be able to see so many people sharing their experiences and helping one another and encouraging one another. Which is one of the things I was hoping would happen with starting this channel. I mean, if I have to overcome my fear of cameras and terror, then hey, let's build a community that's going to help each other, right? So, yeah, raise a glass to that. That helpful, uplifting, positive community is coming together. Yeah. There's a lot of people in there who really do view it as a family. And I get that. And it is kind of a good vibe. It really is. And I'd have to agree with that because I've seen many a times everyone in there seems to be looking out for one another. It's been really cool. And I have to give that credit to you all because really I started it and I'm there answering questions. All I did was put down some basic rules like don't be a jerk, you know. Everyone's just been really groovy and cool about it all. Oh my God, Frostfire, that would be awesome. A dragon with a Mississippian accent. That would be freaking awesome. And yeah, Vin Diesel would do a good job as the knight. Yeah, okay. Now I want to see it. Somebody make this crap happen. Well, yeah, I might be able to pull that off. I'd have to figure out how we do that, but we might be able to do that. You know, this is going to sound weird, but there is a Netflix show. I think it was Netflix. Hold on, Netflix. Yeah, I think it's Netflix. Morgan Freeman hosted. It's called The Story of God. Now, at first glance, the title's like, nope, don't want to watch that. But I watched it because I have a Morgan Freeman addiction. But he looks at different aspects of religion and he looks at it from multiple cultures. He looks at how every culture views the topic. Oh my God, I've been addicted to it. It's so fascinating. So if you're just interested in cultures and their views on spirituality and religion, or you just happen to be addicted to Morgan Freeman's voice, give that a watch. There's like 2 seasons of it, and each episode's like 45 minutes. They really go in deep on some of this stuff. It's really interesting. And yeah, we may have to look into that movie night. We really might. Which actually it looks like it's already being looked into quite well. So in that case, if we figure out how to make this happen, y'all just tag me and let me know when it's happening. And I'll let you know what night I'm available, and I'll make sure to get a night available. I have no idea how you stream a movie. I can barely get to stream like this. I mean, you all have seen some of the mistakes we've had on Magical Coffee Hour. Which I actually found out the static last week on Magical Coffee Hour was not static at all. It was totally my fault. There's a fan back here that was running. Well, technically, Merrick, I'd say the best tool is yourself. Always work on making sure you can do so yourself. But that's probably the cop-out answer. Of the choices you gave me, honestly, my preference is the staff. And there are people who will disagree with me, and there's people who are surprised I picked the staff because I've taken sword fighting. I love swords. So everybody's like, why don't you use a sword? That just seems logical. But it's solid, it's sturdy, energy seems to flow through it really well. It has that reach. There's just so many things you can do with it that you can't the other two. Also, you don't have to worry about getting arrested for having a weapon if you're traveling, which is always handy. But here's a big one. I have actually had wands and daggers get damaged by channeling energy through them. And I know somebody's probably going to comment on this video right now and call BS on me, and that's fine. I understand. But yeah, I've actually had it damage the dagger to some extent, and I've had wands actually crack and splinter. Now, it's true, I've seen some impressions on a staff and whatnot, but by and large, it just seems the most reliable one, in my opinion. And it could honestly, and I have to put this up there, it could honestly differ from person to person. Because how you move energy largely depends on your views and your ideals and your understanding. So how you view the tool itself can affect the energy that moves through it. So your tool has just as much personality as you do. So in my opinion, strictly, I would definitely favor the staff. I hope that answer makes some sense. Open ocean, that's a good question, and that really kind of depends on the practitioner. Though that said, because I don't really view my tools in an intelligent sort of way, so to speak. But that said, I have noticed the more time I spend with them, the more time I use them, that there is a natural attunement that happens. And the better that attunement is and the stronger it gets over time, the better the tool functions. And I could easily see someone saying you're building a relationship with it. And in that case, I would have to say, yeah, the more you use it, the more you work with it, the tool does seem to function better. It's my personal understanding that it's more of an attunement than an intelligent relationship. But yeah, I do think it matters. Because if I was to just pick up any old staff and utilize it, it's not going to function as well as my staff. A staff that I've used for well over 15 years, and I've used it for so long, me and it are very, very well attuned. So I do think that's important. And that's one reason I encourage people to make sure when you get a tool, you make sure you get something durable that's going to have those long-term gains in it, and something that's not going to break or get damaged on you. Of course, not everybody's as rough and clumsy as I am on their tools, so you may not have the same problems. But I do think it's good to make sure that whatever your level of rough and tumble is, you're getting something that can survive you. No, see, open ocean intuitively, you was correct. Because whether you call it a relationship or attunement, either way, it works the same way. And like I said, I do think it's important because the energy flows better, it flows quicker, more smoothly, and all that means that you can move more energy more easily with it. And it honestly becomes like a piece of you in a lot of ways. Yeah, man, I gotta admit, the more you work with those staffs, they do actually have it's friendship's really almost the best word for it. Lord Neo, that is a tricky one. It really is. Luckily, at the end of the Dragon Magic 101 course, there's a linking ritual. So if you want to, you can pick all three and link them. And they share the exact same energy, attunements, and everything, which is handy for those of us who don't want to have to pick. Oh, that does sound like a pretty wand. Here it's 8:25 currently. And that's 8:25 p.m. Yeah, yep, Lauren, I totally get you. The stealthiness is definitely a thing. That's one reason I made sure to use the linking ritual on a wand and a walking stick, because my staff is even cut short. It's big, it's long, it's bulky. It's not stealthy at all. Take it easy, Elfram. Hey, D-Chan. Kobo Kalia Chi. Okay, I'm sorry if I messed that one up. I'm not sure I can say I crafted mine. I'll be honest. I just bought a waxwood staff that's usually used for martial arts, so I knew it'd take a beating. I cheated. All I've done is used a wood burner to burn some runes in it, and I attempted to put some paint on it. It didn't take the paint very well. But in the end, it looks great. No, it can be rough to hide it. I understand that, Mathis. I'm kind of blessed, and I'm in the position in my life for the most part where, well, my whole life I've never cared what people thought about me. So I've always had that personality. It's either you like the authentic me or I really don't care. Got me in trouble a lot, won't lie. But the trouble was worth it to me. But I cannot say that personality and that opinion opened any doors for me easily. If anything, it made things harder. So no, I totally understand you. And that's one reason I believe so heavily in the Arcane Sanctum usage, because that's something you can do to practice any form of magic at any time or place. And yeah, you may not be able to talk about it, but there's no physical evidence of what you're doing for somebody to catch you. See you, Denise. Thank you for joining us. Get some sleep. Awesome, DeChan. I'm glad you're enjoying the channel, and I'm glad to hear you're setting up your altar. We actually just released some beach towels that can be used as altar cloths for dragon magic. Yeah, it's still over here. So I showed it earlier, but I'll go ahead and unfold it again. See? I mean, you don't need one. You can do anything you need to set up your space, but if you're interested, there you go. And like I said, I'm glad you're enjoying the channel. We got more information coming. We actually have a video on the next ruler coming soon, actually. No problem. Lauren, go help your mama. No, Mathis, I can understand that. My family, they're very conservative Baptist style Christians. And when they first found out I was practicing, they weren't happy about it. They informed me they'd pray for me. And then they did not want to talk about it any beyond that period or hear anything about it. And then when I started teaching, that just kind of ramped up to a new level. Now, my sisters still kind of seem to be in that let's just not talk about it phase. But my mom is at a point where she's proud of me for making something of myself and being successful in what I love, even if she don't understand what I'm doing exactly. And if anything, she will openly admit she finds what I'm doing fascinating, but it also scares her because she's the kind of person who can't watch Casper the Friendly Ghost without having a nightmare. So, so I kind of get a laugh at that because she will ask me questions and it's like, okay, so I start to answer it and she's like, no, that's enough. I don't want nightmares. So she's a hoot. But it is nice to have her coming around finally after all these years. But that's why I think it's so important to be okay with who you are. One of the things I try to teach people is learn to be okay with being alone with you. And I mean, truly being alone with yourself, not sleeping. People's like, I sleep by myself all the time. No. Like if you were to take a full week, no internet, no social media, no texting, where you're just cut off and the only person you have is you, and you are alone with your thoughts, you need to learn to be comfortable with that because that's really when you start understanding who you are deep down. And once you reach that comfort level, the rest of it just becomes kind of fluff on the sides and life really gets simpler. Lord Neo, you will be happy to know the air ruler is exactly the one that's on the list to be next. So you can expect that video in June because, well, you know what? I got my little calendar right here. So let's just take a looky-loo what we got. Yep. So looks like, is that right? Yeah. So this coming Tuesday is our video on rules for working with the Fae. And then for those of you who can't believe it's taken me so long, it's finally happening. The following Tuesday, we'll be having a video on the Norse goddess Freya. So I'm hoping to have the first video in June be the video on Zephyrsil. You know, Merrick, I was not a big fan of the Harry Potter movies, but hands down, that wand in the walking stick, that was freaking awesome. And if wands really worked like they did in Harry Potter, I would have that in a heartbeat. Either that or I'd have some kind of spring-loaded contraption where the wand fires out from under my coat sleeve. I'd have one of the two or both. Because I'll admit, Lucian in those books and movies might have been a jerk, but he had style. So we got to give him points for style. Style matters. Well, Mathis, I mean, if he's got the time or inclination, show him where he can purchase the course. And then you two can actually talk about your practices and even possibly work together. Okay, we're at an hour and 30, so we're going to start wrapping up. Any last minute questions before I go? While y'all thinking questions, I'm going to get me some more coffee because I have not had enough coffee today. Okay, we'll handle these in order here. Enchantments. If you mean like enchanting items, I love to do it. In fact, you know what? You can see it. See that red band on the inside of my hat? I actually have several runic enchantments on that for protection and other things. And I got it tucked into my hat band so that anytime my hat's with me, those enchantments are with me as well. Same thing with both of my rings. They carry different enchantments. So I'm all about enchanting items, though I have a rule when it comes to enchanted items. Never rely on an item. Consider the item a backup only. So when it comes to protective items, I don't rely on them. And I daily, 2 or 3 times a day, I will ground and shield. And I do that because that way, no matter what, I know protection is always under my control. And shielding is a very important practice. But those shields throughout the day can weaken, and depending on how much energy hits them, they might come down. So the enchanted items are only there as a backup in those cases. That's it. And I do have several wards scattered throughout the house in different ways to protect the house in the same manner. But again, the rule still applies. Those are backups only. The primary protection is always me, myself, and my personal power. I hope that answers that question somewhat. Peachy, am I a Slytherin? Yes. Actually, most of the time I am in mentality. Now, my wife will tell you that, what is it she called it? It's like a Slither Griffin. It's like a combination of Gryffindor and Slytherin. Because, yes, technically my tactics and my preferred method of things is from the background, unseen, move pieces around, and kind of the chess master-like method. So as I'm kind of, instead of being the boss, I'd rather be the person controlling the boss. And so, yeah, I'm very Slytherin in that way. However, I have that annoying penchant to want to help and to try and help people help themselves or fix an issue in their life. So I do have a lot of Gryffindor traits too. And if any of you's heard about how I dive into my research without looking, clearly the recklessness of Gryffindor is definitely a part of my personality. But yeah, I fall in between those two, but I tend to lean more Slytherin in personality. Take it easy, Lord Nia. No, honestly, the biggest thing I would say is if you're doing any fasting, make sure you're doing it in a safe and healthy way. And make sure someone knows where you're at in case something happens while you're in the woods. I mean, just make sure you do everything safely. I mean, y'all know I like to go out in the woods by myself and spend some time. So it's just make sure those little safety marks are checked so everything goes well. I don't usually fast when I go into the woods, but you can. But do take along some form of food. So if for some reason something happens and you need to break your fast, you can. Welcome back, Lauren. Hey, nothing wrong with a Hufflepuff. I know quite a few Hufflepuff. Great people. I actually, for most of my enchantments, I do use ritual, and I usually use some form of sigil that I craft and create, or even a line of sigils, and I energetically inscribe them into the item. In most cases, like this ring, if you look at it without your arcane senses, you're not going to see any sigils on it. They're all inlaid energetically. Now, the thing is, it takes a lot of energy to get that to hold up for any length of time. So starting out, you may have to re-enchant your items monthly. So you need to always check the energy in them and see how they're doing. But the ritual I use to get long-term enchantments is about a 6-hour ritual. But from week to week or month to month, you could do it pretty easily just by imbuing the sigils in and charging it and focusing energy and pushing energy into it for a good 30 minutes. That's the short of it. I would have, we're talking about doing like a live stream class where people can buy seats into the class, and I'll actually be teaching everyone in the class. So enchanting may actually be one of the classes I add to that list. For those in the Discord, they saw me post, and I've actually worked out the logistics. I know how we can do the signups. I know how we can stream it. It's totally doable. And I think I could afford to do it at $10 a seat. And the classes would be 1 to 3 hours, depending. So that's a heck of a value. And I would even make sure the classes were available for review for up to 3 weeks. 2 or 3 weeks after the class, so that if you signed up and everything and you missed it, or you just want to go back and rewatch it, you could review it for up to 3 weeks. And that also allows me to, the way I'm looking at it, it also gives me a place where I can put downloads. So if I wanted to do handouts or something for the class, I can actually make sure the downloads are available for you all. So, and we've got enough interest from people talking about actually interested in this live mini course or classes that's on the horizon. That's coming. And I will definitely add enchantment to the list so that we can actually walk through how you would do it. And in the class, we'll even do an enchantment ritual to actually enchant an item in class. Hey, Origins of Insanity, good to see you. Well, Lauren, you did come back at the perfect time. Everyone loves enchanting, so I may actually do the first class on enchanting. That's such a big topic. And it's fun. I mean, who wouldn't enjoy having a magic item on hand? It's just fun. It's practical, useful, and fun. Oh, no. See, that's one of the things I don't like about the books, Peachy. She painted all Slytherins as bad, but Slytherins are not bad. We're very helpful. Well, Dechan, make sure you go to the Discord. When this video uploads after going live, there'll be a link below it. Or just go to the most recent video on the Hammer Rat. You'll see the Discord link. Jump over and join the Working Dragon Mystic Discord. I'll make sure all announcements are there, and I'll also be making announcements via the YouTube community tab. So if you are in those two areas, you're sure to know when we get ready to do it. Lauren, I'd love to have you in the class. And like I said, I'm looking at doing each seat only $10. And if I can fill 10 seats, that would cover everything, all of my expenses. So yeah, I'd be able to do it for as little as that. So yeah, we can do it. I've been looking at the logistics of it. And it actually sounds like a lot of fun to me. I actually miss kind of teaching the live classes. Yeah, we are growing really fast. I've been watching that number, and you know, the Samhain 5K challenge, y'all seem to be really trying to get there. So I actually think we might hit 5K by Samhain, in which case, yeah, my wife is going to be doing my makeup, hair, and whatever costume she decides to put me in. So I hope y'all want to see me look like whatever it is she puts me in, which I'm currently worried is going to be a dress. Now, I want to specify, someone asked this. If we hit 5K on November 1st at, what was it they said, 12:05 a.m., yes, I'll count it. I will count it because YouTube numbers, the way they sometimes handle the subscriptions, if you guys hit the 5K anywhere near that midnight time slot, and I may even go as far as like 6 a.m., I'll count it because the YouTube counter don't always update as quickly and accurately as I would like for some of these challenges. So I will give you guys a large window there. Though at the rate you're all going, I don't think you need a window. I have a feeling y'all's going to hit the 5K before Samhain gets there, but just because at least one person's asked me that question, I figured I'd clarify it with everybody. Yeah, like, you know, it does look like it. So, and yeah, keep sharing it with your friends and family, associates, whoever you think would be interested in the channel or this information. So, yeah, that's kind of become the unofficial name, Math. It's 5K to see Drake and Drag. Because I'm pretty sure everyone is convinced my wife is going to put me in a dress. And I wish I had some logic to say y'all's wrong, but I'm kind of thinking the same thing. I'm hoping she would pick something else. But I think it's a fool's hope. But my community, my viewers, and I consider y'all my friends, y'all's very much worth it. Oh, believe me, when it comes to the makeup, she will go all out on the makeup. Oh, she will. Am I allowed to say no glitter? Because I'd really rather her not use glitter. I'm pretty much okay with anything else she does to me. I just don't want glitter. Am I allowed to add that one specification into this challenge? I mean, you all's the viewers, so I'm asking you if I'm allowed. Y'all can say no, and then I can get, you know, glitter crap and never get it off. Okay, so with that, we will go ahead and close up here. Like I said, Tuesday, make sure you jump over and check out the video. We got the rules of working for the Fae coming out that everyone's been asking for. And honestly, it's been overdue. I agree. It's a great video to do. See, Open Ocean knows what I'm talking about. Open Ocean knows. Your girl wants to paint your nails or your toenails. You let her. You let her. That's what love is. Oh, I could be in a Rocky Horror play by the time she's done with me. Trust me. Other than the fact that it has to be YouTube friendly, I think she out. Well, if y'all make the 5K, honestly, I will make sure to get up, walk back here, and I'll do my little turn on the catwalk so you can see the full outfit, okay? So if she has me in high heels, you'll get to see it. And yes, the next ruler will be coming up within a few weeks. And don't forget to join us Sunday, where I'm joined with the Linda from Caffeine and Chaos for the Magical Coffee Hour. I know y'all love seeing her torture me and see what random rabbit trails we end up going down on that little stream. And I'll make sure to turn the fan off this time. Okay? I'm sorry about that last week. I thought it was static. Well, I didn't hear it on my end, I'll be honest. And everybody else thought it was static. So, yeah, I'm telling y'all. So if you hear the static again, you can be like, hey, Drake, turn your fan off, dummy. And I'll be like, okay. Well, I'm not allowed to use any copyrighted music. Oh, what did I do to make you spit water? I got to know this. Okay, we can't go until I know what I did to make Peachy spit water. Peachy, we're waiting. While we're waiting, though, we did add a lot of new stuff to the merch shop, so be sure to check that out. And recently, they did finish the ruler of the Dragons of Darkness. That particular piece of art is up, and if I may say so, it is freaking gorgeous. I fell in love with that one when I saw it. Oh, the turn on the catwalk. Yeah. Honestly, I was thinking of Snape when I said that because I remember seeing a YouTube video of that song with Snape. So our Slytherin conversation made that pop into my head. So, yeah. But I will totally be doing the catwalk model. Because if I'm getting all gussied up and whatnot for something you all worked hard to win, we're doing more than just this little shoulder shot that we do for the live streams here. I'll make sure you get to see the full deal. Okay, so with that, everyone, you all have a wonderful night. I'll see you next week. And thanks to you all, we now have the topic for the first live class, which will be enchanting. I'm sure we'll have an enchanting time with that, pun intended. And I'll see y'all Sunday. Also, jump over into the Discord. Let's continue talking over there if you have any further questions. I'll be over there chatting, goofing off, and I'll answer what questions I can. Until then, y'all take it easy. I'll see you next time.